Listen, sometimes life brings people into your world in a way that doesn't make sense. You didn't plan it. You didn't chase it. You didn't even expect it. But something inside you knows this connection is not ordinary. It's not random. It's not a coincidence. It's divine timing. When God wants you with someone, you'll feel it in the deepest part of your being. Now, I'm not talking about the fairy tale version of love. I'm talking about a divine alignment. When two people are placed in each other's paths because together they can grow, heal, and fulfill a purpose greater than themselves. See, when God wants you with someone, he doesn't send them to complete you. He sends them to expand you. That person won't just make you feel good. They'll make you grow. They'll challenge your comfort zones. They'll hold up a mirror that reflects not just your beauty, but also the parts of you that still need healing. Because the truth is, divine connections are not always easy, but they are always meaningful. When God aligns you with someone, it's not about lust, not about fantasy, not about filling a void. It's about destiny. It's about two souls being pulled by a force stronger than logic, stronger than fear, stronger than timing. And when that happens, you'll notice something powerful. You'll stop chasing. You'll stop forcing. Because real connections don't require convincing, they flow. But let me tell you this, sometimes God will bring that person into your life not to stay, but to teach. You might think they're the one, but maybe they're the one who's meant to awaken you. Maybe they're the one who helps you see what love should feel like. So when the right one comes, your heart is ready. Don't mistake divine lessons for divine destinations. When God wants you with someone, he prepares you first. He breaks your pride. He heals your wounds. He restores your faith because he knows if you're not whole, you can't love from wholeness. So if you're waiting for that person, don't just wait, work. Build yourself into the kind of person who can carry the weight of a divine relationship. And when it's time, you'll know. You won't have to fight for attention. You won't have to beg for love. You won't have to doubt your place. Peace will be your confirmation. God's presence will be your proof. The connection will have purpose written all over it. Some of you have been through relationships that broke you down, that made you question your worth, that made you doubt if love is even real. But hear me, those experiences were not to destroy you. They were to prepare you. Because when God writes your story, even your heartbreaks become holy. When God wants you with someone, it's not just so you can have a partner. It's so you can walk in purpose together. It's so you can build something that impacts lives, generations, and maybe even the world. That's what divine love is. It's not just emotional, it's transformational. So if you're in a season of waiting, don't lose faith. If you're in a season of confusion, don't rush. And if you're in a season of pain, don't give up. God is aligning hearts, shaping character, and orchestrating divine timing behind the scenes. You just can't see the full picture yet. Because when it's from God, it won't destroy your peace. It will deepen it. It won't make you question your worth. It will remind you of it. It won't make you feel small. It will make you rise. When God wants you with someone, he will move mountains. He will align moments. He will orchestrate what humans call impossible. And when it finally happens, you'll look back at every closed door, every delay, every tear, and you'll say, now I understand. Because what's meant for you will never have to be forced. When God wants you with someone, he'll make sure you meet not by chance, but by divine design. Divine connections are not coincidences. They are God's alignments for purpose. Every single encounter in your life carries a message, a meaning, and a moment of transformation if you're willing to see it. Too often, people call it luck, fate, or chance. But deep down, you know better. There's something supernatural about the way certain people walk into your life, not at random, but at exactly the right time. When you look back, you start to see a pattern, a thread woven through your story that only makes sense when you zoom out and realize this wasn't coincidence. This was divine strategy. Every person who steps into your path is either part of your lesson or part of your destiny. Some will come to test your patience, others to test your faith, and a few, those rare few, will awaken something sacred inside you. These divine alignments aren't about convenience, they're about calling. God places certain people in your life not just to make you happy, but to make you ready for growth, ready for healing, ready for the next version of who you're becoming. When it's divine, the energy feels different. You won't have to chase validation or fight for attention. There's a natural harmony, a flow that doesn't rely on manipulation or control. It's as if your souls recognize each other before your minds do. You feel peace in their presence, clarity in their words, and purpose in your connection. You can't explain it logically because it's not logical, it's spiritual. But here's what most people miss: divine alignment doesn't always feel easy. Sometimes God will align you with someone who challenges you to your core, someone who forces you to face your fears, confront your weaknesses, and step into your truth. You might resist it at first. You might even want to run from it. But that person was sent not to comfort you, but to transform you. When it's divine, it's not about staying safe. It's about stepping into growth. Think about it. If everything in your life was comfortable, you would never evolve. Growth is born in friction. And sometimes the friction comes in the form of another person, someone who pushes your buttons, yet somehow pulls the best out of you. That's divine alignment at work. God doesn't waste encounters. He uses them to shape your character, refine your purpose, and align your path. The mistake most people make is trying to understand divine connections with human logic. You can't analyze what's meant to be spiritually discerned. That's why patience matters. You might not understand why someone appeared in your life so suddenly or why the connection feels so intense, but over time, God reveals the why. He shows you that it wasn't about timing. It was about alignment. Divine timing is not about convenience. It's about preparation. God aligns people when both hearts are ready to fulfill something greater together than they could apart. When you meet someone who's aligned with your purpose, you'll feel a spiritual acceleration. Things start to move. Ideas flow. Energy rises. You find yourself dreaming bigger, believing deeper, and seeing yourself through a higher lens. Divine connections ignite divine confidence. They remind you of your worth, your calling, your identity. They don't drain your spirit. They empower it. They don't confuse your mind. They bring clarity. And yet divine alignment doesn't mean permanence. Some connections are seasonal but still sacred. You might meet someone who completely shifts your mindset, changes your direction, and then leaves. That doesn't mean it failed. It means it fulfilled its divine assignment. God uses people like chapters in your story. Some are long, some are short, but all are necessary for the plot to unfold. When you start viewing your relationships through the lens of divine alignment, you stop forcing and start trusting. You stop chasing what doesn't flow and start allowing what's meant to be. You learn to discern between attraction and assignment, because not everyone who feels right is right. The enemy can send distractions that look like destiny, but divine alignment carries one thing that counterfeits never will: peace. Peace is the signature of God's involvement. You'll know it's divine when your spirit feels anchored, even when your circumstances don't. You'll sense purpose even when you don't have all the answers. You'll feel pulled toward growth, not comfort. Divine alignment is not about how well someone fits your fantasy. It's about how powerfully they fit your faith journey. When God orchestrates an alignment, He's not just connecting two people. He's connecting two destinies. He's building something eternal. Maybe it's a partnership that will change lives. Maybe it's a relationship that will break generational cycles. Maybe it's a friendship that will carry you through your toughest seasons. Whatever the form, the purpose is always greater than emotion. Divine connections expand your capacity to love, to lead, to serve, and to believe again. But to receive divine alignment, you must also be aligned. You can't meet the right people while living in the wrong patterns. God won't bring destiny into dysfunction. That's why seasons of isolation and preparation matter. When God is quiet, He's aligning. When doors close, He's protecting. When people walk away, He's clearing the path, because divine alignment requires divine order. There will come a moment when everything you thought you lost will make sense. You'll realize that every disappointment was direction. Every heartbreak was preparation. Every delay was alignment. You'll see how God was weaving purpose through every connection, every conversation, every crossing of paths. You'll understand that none of it was random. It was written. Divine connections are God's way of saying, you're not meant to walk this journey alone. They remind you that heaven has a plan for your heart, that your story is part of something bigger, and that every alignment has meaning beyond what the eye can see. And when you start to trust that, you stop living in fear and start living in faith. You stop asking, why me? And start declaring, thank you, God, for showing me what's meant for me. Because every soul you meet is either a reflection of who you are or a catalyst for who you're becoming. Every connection, every moment, every lesson, it's all part of divine alignment. And when you live from that truth, you don't just find purpose. You become it. The right person won't complete you. They'll expand you and help you grow. That's the truth that too many people overlook when they chase relationships, when they crave validation, when they seek someone to fill an emptiness they haven't yet healed. You were never meant to find someone who completes you because that implies you are broken, unfinished, or lacking. You were created whole, valuable, and loved long before anyone ever entered your life. The right person doesn't show up to fix you. They show up to evolve with you. They don't rescue you. They remind you of your strength. They don't make you forget who you are. They help you remember. When you meet the right person, something inside you awakens. It's not that they bring you happiness. It's that they ignite what's already within you. They don't hand you peace. They help you protect it. They challenge you to look at yourself differently. You begin to realize that real love doesn't shrink you into comfort. It stretches you into potential. It's not about dependency. It's about development. It's not about completing each other. It's about complementing each other's mission, vision, and purpose. The right person will not make life easier, but they'll make it meaningful. They'll stand beside you when life gets messy. They'll see you at your weakest and still call out your greatness. They'll challenge your excuses, question your limitations, and push you toward the version of yourself you keep postponing. Because real love is not passive, it's powerful. It doesn't settle for mediocrity, it calls forth excellence. When someone truly loves you, they don't just accept who you are, they believe in who you can become. Think about it. Growth happens in the tension between who you are and who you're called to be. The right person understands that balance. They'll support you, but they'll also confront you. They'll comfort you, but they'll also challenge you. They'll hold space for your tears, but they won't let you drown in self-pity because they see the fire in you that sometimes you forget is there. They recognize the calling on your life that even fear tries to silence. They become your mirror, not the one that shows your flaws, but the one that reflects your potential. The wrong person will drain your energy, demand your attention, and distract you from your purpose. But the right person will amplify your focus, fuel your growth, and inspire your faith. They'll make you think bigger, dream higher, and live bolder. They'll make you uncomfortable in the best way because they'll refuse to let you play small. You'll realize that love is not about escaping struggle, it's about evolving through it together. When the right person enters your life, your standards shift. You no longer chase attention, you attract alignment. You stop settling for temporary highs because you've tasted peace that doesn't fade. You stop begging to be chosen because you finally understand your worth. That's what growth looks like. It's not about who holds your hand. It's about who helps you hold your faith when life tests you. And sometimes growth hurts. Sometimes the right person will force you to face your own wounds. They'll reveal the parts of you that you've buried under fear, pride, or pain. And that can be uncomfortable because love is not just an emotion. It's a mirror. It shows you the areas where you need healing. It reflects your patterns, your triggers, your limits. But instead of running, you start working. You start growing. You start becoming aware, because that's what divine relationships do. They push you to evolve, not escape. The right person will never try to change your essence, but they'll challenge your patterns. They'll see the habits that hold you back and lovingly hold you accountable. They won't walk away when it gets hard because they understand that growth requires grace and grace requires patience. They'll help you navigate the storms, not by taking control, but by reminding you of your anchor. They'll remind you who you are when you forget. When you're with the right person, you feel seen, not for what you can do, but for who you truly are. They see your flaws and still choose to stand beside you. They don't idolize you, they humanize you. They love you not because you're perfect, but because you're real. And in their presence, you feel safe to be authentic, to be vulnerable, to be unfinished. That safety is the soil where growth takes root. The right person doesn't complete your story, they help you write new chapters. They encourage you to dream again, to take risks again, to love again. They don't clip your wings, they teach you how to fly higher. They become your partner in evolution. You learn together, fail together, rebuild together, and rise together. And that's where real connection lives, not in perfection, but in progress. You'll know it's the right person when you don't feel like you're losing yourself to love. You'll feel expanded. You'll feel like your world is getting bigger, your heart stronger, your faith deeper. You'll feel challenged, yes, but in a way that elevates you. They'll inspire you to step into your greatness, not because they need it, but because they see it. They'll hold your hand through the fire, but never let you forget that you were born to walk through it. The beauty of this kind of relationship is that it's mutual. They grow, you grow. They heal, you heal. You become two people who build each other instead of breaking each other. You stop competing and start completing each other's missions. You become aligned with a purpose that's bigger than just being together. You're called to build something that outlives you. And this kind of love requires maturity. You can't find it while you're still seeking someone to make you happy, because that's not love, that's dependency. Happiness is your responsibility. Growth is your reward. The right person won't give you peace. They'll protect the peace you've already built. They won't be your source. They'll be your support. They'll love you enough to let you face your own storms, but they'll stand close enough to remind you you're not alone. Every relationship in your life is either an anchor or a sail. The right one lifts you. The wrong one keeps you stuck. The right one will help you rise into the person God designed you to be. And it won't always feel easy because expansion rarely does. Growth stretches you. It asks more of you. But it's worth it because love that expands you is love that transforms you. You are not meant to spend your life searching for someone who completes your missing pieces. You are meant to become whole and then meet someone who matches your wholeness. Two complete souls walking side by side, not leaning on each other to survive, but holding hands as they thrive. That's the kind of love that changes lives, not because it's perfect, but because it's purposeful. And when you experience that kind of connection, you'll finally understand that the right person was never sent to finish you. They were sent to help you grow into the fullness of who you already are. Some people are sent to teach you, not to stay with you. That truth can hurt more than almost anything else in life because it goes against what your heart wants. You meet someone, you connect deeply, you feel like it's meant to last forever, and then suddenly it shifts. They leave, or life pulls you apart, and you're left wondering why something that felt so right had to end. But the reality is not every person who enters your life is meant to walk the entire journey with you. Some are divine messengers, not lifelong companions. They come to awaken something, to challenge something, or to heal something inside you that could never have surfaced without them. You see, we tend to measure the value of a relationship by its duration, but God measures it by its impact. The people who leave the deepest marks on your life are not always the ones who stay forever. Sometimes they come like a storm, fast, intense, transformative, and then they're gone. But after they leave, you're never the same. You see yourself differently. You see love differently. You see life differently. That was their purpose. They were never meant to complete your story, only to change the direction of it. When someone comes into your life and shakes you to your core, don't rush to label it as love or loss. Pause and ask, what was I meant to learn from this? Because there's always a lesson hidden in every encounter. Maybe they came to teach you boundaries, to show you how to say no when your heart keeps saying yes. Maybe they came to remind you of your worth, to awaken your self-respect, to help you see that settling is a form of self-betrayal. Or maybe they came to mirror your own wounds, showing you the pain you've been avoiding so you could finally face it and heal. Some of the greatest teachers in your life will never stand at a podium or hold a title. They'll just love you, hurt you, challenge you, and leave you different. That's divine teaching. God uses people to get your attention in ways words never could. When you refuse to listen to your intuition, he sends experiences. When you ignore his whisper, he sends people. And those people become the lesson wrapped in human form. The hardest part about this truth is accepting it without bitterness. It's easy to get angry at those who left. It's easy to feel betrayed or abandoned. But when you shift your perspective, you start to see the blessing in the goodbye. That heartbreak that shattered you also awakened you. That disappointment that broke your trust also built your strength. That person who walked away actually made room for who you're becoming. They didn't ruin you, they refined you. You have to learn to thank people for their part in your story, even if their exit was painful, because every connection has an expiration date aligned with your evolution. God knows who you need and for how long. He knows when to send someone and when to remove them. And if he allowed them to leave, it means their assignment in your life was complete. Trying to hold on to someone whose season is over is like trying to keep a leaf from falling in autumn. You're fighting nature's order. Some of you are still holding on to people who were only meant to be lessons. You're replaying old memories, hoping for a different ending. But the truth is, if they were meant to stay, nothing could have made them leave. And if they were meant to leave, nothing could have made them stay. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll find peace. Because peace doesn't come from holding on. It comes from understanding why you had to let go. The beautiful part about divine lessons is that they never leave you empty-handed. Every person who leaves takes something and leaves something. They might take your comfort, but they leave clarity. They might take your certainty, but they leave strength. They might take your heart, but they leave wisdom. You're always gaining something, even in loss. The key is to stop focusing on what left and start focusing on what remained, the growth, the awareness, the faith that came out of the experience. Sometimes God allows people to break your heart so your heart can expand. Pain opens you. It stretches your capacity to love, to empathize, to understand. Before that heartbreak, maybe you loved with conditions. After it, you learned how to love with boundaries. Before that disappointment, maybe you trusted blindly. After it, you learned to trust with discernment. Those are lessons no classroom can teach. And understand this, When someone's role in your life is over, God will make their presence uncomfortable. The conversations will feel different. The energy will shift. The connection that once felt effortless will suddenly feel forced. That's not rejection. It's redirection. It's God signaling that you've learned what you needed to learn. Staying any longer would only delay your growth. So he creates friction to push you toward freedom. But what most people do is resist that change. They hold on tighter, trying to fix what's fallen apart. They try to resurrect something that's meant to rest. And in that struggle, they end up prolonging their own pain. The truth is, endings are not punishments, they're protection. When someone walks away, it's because their purpose in your journey has been fulfilled. The same God who brought them into your life is the same God who's moving them out of it. Trust that process. When you start seeing people as lessons instead of losses, your heart begins to heal differently. You stop blaming and start understanding. You stop regretting and start reflecting. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what did this teach me? And that's where your transformation begins. You become wiser, more grounded, more in tune with your spirit. You start recognizing patterns before they become pain. You start valuing peace over attachment. The truth is, divine lessons never truly leave you. They stay imprinted in your spirit as wisdom. They shape how you love, how you trust, how you give. Every person you've ever met is part of your spiritual evolution. Some were blessings, some were tests, some were mirrors, some were healers, but all of them were necessary. So don't be afraid of losing people. Be afraid of missing the lesson they came to teach. Because if you don't learn it, life will send another teacher and another until you do. But when you finally learn, when you finally see the pattern, you'll start attracting people who don't just teach you. They walk with you. People who aren't lessons, but blessings. People who don't trigger your pain, but nurture your peace. And when that happens, you'll realize that every ending was actually preparation for the next divine alignment. Every person who left made room for someone better suited for your purpose. Every goodbye cleared the path for your next hello. And even though it hurt, even though it felt unfair, it was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to develop you. Some people are sent to teach you, not to stay with you. And once you understand that, you stop clinging to pain and start welcoming purpose. God prepares your heart before he brings the right person into your life. That's something most people overlook because we live in a world that tells us to go out and find love, chase it, manifest it, make it happen. But divine love doesn't work that way. God doesn't just throw two people together because they look good on paper or because they're lonely. He's intentional. He's strategic. He's preparing one heart to meet another. And that preparation often happens in seasons of waiting, healing, and transformation. It's in those quiet, uncomfortable moments that God is doing his deepest work. Before the right person arrives, God will refine you. He'll test your patience, challenge your expectations, and strip away the things that are blocking your capacity to love fully. You might feel like everything is falling apart, but what's actually happening is that he's aligning your heart with his timing. He knows that if he gave you the person too early, you'd sabotage it with your wounds. If he gave you the blessing before you were ready, you'd mishandle it. So instead, he waits. He works on you. He shapes you from the inside out so that when the right person comes, you can love from wholeness, not from need. When God prepares your heart, he starts by breaking the patterns that no longer serve you. He'll close doors that lead to counterfeit love. He'll remove people who only feed your loneliness instead of your purpose. He'll teach you how to be alone without being empty, because he knows that love built on desperation isn't love, it's dependency. You have to be able to stand strong in your own identity before you can share it with someone else. So he isolates you not to punish you, but to strengthen you. In that isolation, he teaches you how to listen to his voice, how to find peace in his presence, how to fill your cup without relying on another person. You start to learn that preparation isn't about finding the right person. It's about becoming the right person. You can't expect God to bring you someone whole if you're still living broken. You can't ask for a partner who knows how to love if you haven't learned how to forgive. You can't pray for commitment while still running from accountability. God is not going to send you someone to fix you. He's going to heal you first so you can meet them as your best self. And the preparation hurts sometimes. It hurts to let go of people who don't fit your future. It hurts to outgrow environments that once felt safe. It hurts to face the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. But healing isn't supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to be cleansing. God uses pain to purify your heart, to remove the bitterness, the fear, the pride, and the past that's been holding you back. Every time you surrender, he replaces a wound with wisdom, a scar with strength, and fear with faith. When God is preparing your heart, you'll start to see patterns break. You'll no longer chase what doesn't feel right. You'll lose interest in shallow connections. You'll crave peace over attention. You'll stop trying to force people to understand your value because you finally understand it yourself. That's a sign that your heart is healing. That's how you know you're being prepared. You stop being controlled by your emotions and start being guided by discernment. You stop reacting from pain and start responding from purpose. In the process of preparation, God will also test your patience. You'll meet people who seem perfect but aren't aligned. You'll feel ready, but the timing won't match. That's when faith becomes essential. You have to trust that the delay isn't denial. It's divine. God's timing is never rushed, never random, never wrong. While you're wondering when it will happen, he's working behind the scenes, preparing both hearts to meet in perfect alignment. He's shaping your character, testing your loyalty, refining your faith, and protecting your peace. Sometimes God will even bring near misses into your life. People who look like the one but aren't. It's not to tease you, it's to teach you. Those experiences sharpen your discernment. They help you recognize what's real and what's not. They show you the difference between emotional intensity and spiritual alignment. You learn that the right person won't confuse your spirit. They'll bring confirmation, not chaos. Peace, not pressure. Growth, not guilt. While God is preparing your heart, he's also preparing our person's heart. You're not the only one in training. They might be going through their own battles, their own healing, their own refining process. And sometimes that's why you have to wait. Because if you met them now, you'd meet them in their brokenness, not in their readiness. You have to trust that God knows when both hearts are prepared to sustain what he's building. A divine connection requires two prepared hearts, not one. During preparation, you'll also learn to love differently. You'll stop equating love with drama. You'll stop chasing validation. You'll start understanding that love is not found. It's built. And the foundation of that love is built long before the person arrives. It's built in the choices you make daily, choosing to forgive instead of holding grudges, choosing to trust instead of control, choosing to be patient instead of impulsive. Every time you grow in love without a person, you're preparing to love better with one. There will come a moment when you realize that everything you've been through, every heartbreak, every delay, every closed door was part of the preparation. God wasn't ignoring you. He was instructing you. He wasn't withholding love. He was redefining it. You needed to experience what wasn't love to recognize what is. You needed to lose what wasn't meant for you to make space for what is. Every no you've received wasn't rejection. It was redirection toward the yes that's aligned with your purpose. When the preparation season stretches longer than you expected, don't let frustration make you forget faith. Growth takes time. Healing takes time. Becoming ready takes time. You don't plant a seed and demand fruit the next morning. You nurture it, water it, and trust that eventually it will bloom. That's how divine preparation works. God is cultivating your heart so it can sustain the weight of a love that's built to last. He's protecting you from premature connections that would drain your spirit. He's teaching you how to love without losing yourself. And the truth is, once your heart is ready, you won't have to chase what's meant for you. You won't have to beg for love, force timing, or manipulate outcomes. When God says it's time, everything will align naturally. The connection will have peace, the timing will have clarity, and your spirit will recognize the confirmation. Until then, preparation is your protection. It's God's way of saying, I'm getting you ready for something real. So in your waiting, don't grow weary, grow wiser. Don't waste the season, work on yourself. Learn to love yourself the way you want to be loved. Heal what still hurts. Forgive what still weighs you down. Build your faith. Strengthen your boundaries. Become the person who can receive and sustain the kind of love you're praying for. Because when God prepares your heart, he's not just preparing you for a relationship, he's preparing you for purpose. And when that preparation is complete, the right person won't just walk into your life. They'll fit into your destiny when it's from God. Peace will be your confirmation, not confusion. That's one of the most powerful ways to discern what's meant for you in life, especially when it comes to relationships, opportunities, and divine connections. Because when God authors something, he signs it with peace. It might not always make sense in the beginning, and it might not always be easy, but there will be an undeniable calm in your spirit that tells you this is right. Peace is not the absence of problems. It's the presence of alignment. It's that quiet assurance that even if everything around you is uncertain, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. When something isn't from God, it doesn't matter how beautiful it looks, how much potential it seems to have, or how badly you want it. It will drain your spirit. It will keep you up at night questioning, doubting, overthinking. Confusion will become your constant companion because God is not the author of confusion. He is the giver of peace. And that's why you have to learn to listen not just to what's said or what's seen, but to what's felt deep within your soul. If your peace is disturbed, your spirit is trying to warn you. Many people mistake intensity for alignment. They think strong emotions mean something is meant to be, but intensity can come from attachment, desire, or even trauma. It doesn't always come from God. Peace, however, is steady. It's not loud or dramatic. It's subtle, grounding, and consistent. It doesn't demand attention. It simply exists. And that's how God communicates. He doesn't always shout through signs. Sometimes he whispers through stillness. If you can quiet your mind long enough, you'll feel it. You'll sense that calm reassurance that tells you, this is safe, this is real, this is me. When God sends something or someone into your life, there might still be challenges, but there won't be chaos. There might be effort, but there won't be exhaustion. You'll find yourself at peace, even while working through the process. Because God's plans may stretch you, but they won't destroy your peace. They may require faith, but they won't require fear. You'll know it's divine because even when your flesh is anxious, your spirit is calm. You'll be able to breathe. You'll feel anchored. That's the difference between something you forced and something that's favored. Peace is one of the most underrated forms of confirmation. We look for external signs, text messages, coincidences, synchronicities, but the real sign is internal. When you're in alignment with God's will, your soul will know. You won't need validation. You won't need to beg for clarity. Peace will speak louder than words. The confusion that once clouded your mind will fade, and you'll start to move with confidence. That's what happens when you operate in divine alignment. Sometimes God will remove peace from a situation to protect you. You'll feel uneasy, restless, uncomfortable, even if everything looks perfect on the surface. That's your cue to pause and pray. Don't ignore it. When your spirit feels off, it's not paranoia, it's protection. God is saying, this is not for you. The more spiritually mature you become, the more sensitive you'll be to those subtle shifts. You'll realize that losing peace is more costly than losing people, because peace is the foundation of everything God builds on. Without it, even blessings feel heavy. And sometimes the opposite happens. God will give you peace in situations that make no logical sense. You'll face challenges that should overwhelm you, but somehow you'll feel calm. That's divine assurance. That's God saying, I'm here. You'll be walking through the unknown, but with unexplainable confidence. The circumstances might look uncertain, but your heart will be steady. That's the kind of peace that surpasses all understanding, the kind that only God can give. When it's from God, peace becomes your compass. You'll stop chasing after people or opportunities that disturb your soul. You'll stop trying to make things fit that clearly don't. You'll learn to recognize that confusion is a form of protection, not punishment. God doesn't hide his blessings in chaos. He hides them in clarity. So when something feels forced, when it makes you anxious, when it pulls you away from your faith, walk away. Because anything that costs you your peace is too expensive for your purpose. Peace is not passive. It's not just sitting still and doing nothing. It's active trust. It's choosing to remain calm when everything around you says, panic. It's the strength to let go when something isn't right, even when your heart wants to hold on. It's the courage to wait for what's meant for you without rushing the process. Peace is a product of spiritual maturity. It means you've learned to stop chasing what doesn't align and to start trusting that what's meant for you will never miss you. When you start prioritizing peace, your life changes. The noise around you gets quieter. The people who thrive on chaos start to drift away. You stop explaining yourself to those who don't understand your growth. You stop fighting for spaces where you were never meant to fit. That's what happens when you align with God. You start valuing peace more than performance. You realize that true blessings don't bring confusion or manipulation. They bring calm, stability, and joy. There will be moments when God tests your ability to choose peace over pressure. You might be tempted to rush into something that looks good but doesn't feel right. You might be drawn to a relationship that excites your emotions but unsettles your spirit. That's where discernment comes in. Peace doesn't always come wrapped in excitement. Sometimes it looks quiet. Sometimes it feels unfamiliar because you're used to chaos. But once you taste real peace, you'll never go back to confusion. The reason God emphasizes peace is because it's the proof of his presence. You can't fake it. You can't fabricate it. You can't buy it. Peace is the natural byproduct of walking in divine order. It's the evidence that you're aligned with his will. That's why when confusion creeps in, you should never ignore it. Confusion is the alarm that tells you something is off. Peace is the confirmation that tells you you're on track. One drains you. The other restores you. One distracts you, the other directs you. And the more you learn to trust that peace, the easier your decisions become. You won't overthink every move. You won't beg God for constant signs. You'll just know. You'll feel settled. That doesn't mean everything will be perfect, but you'll be grounded in faith. You'll know that even if storms come, your foundation won't shake, because peace doesn't depend on circumstances. It depends on connection. The closer you stay to God, the more peace you'll carry no matter where you are. So when you're trying to decide if something is from God, stop asking, does it make sense? And start asking, do I feel peace? Because the enemy can disguise himself as opportunity, but he can't duplicate peace. The world can offer pleasure, but only God offers peace. And that's how you'll know the difference between what's meant for your comfort and what's meant for your calling. When you choose peace, you choose alignment. You choose to walk with God instead of running ahead of him. You choose faith over fear, clarity over chaos, stillness over struggle. And when you live like that, you start to notice a shift. Life doesn't necessarily get easier, but it becomes lighter. You start moving from anxiety to assurance, from worry to worship, from confusion to conviction. Because when it's from God, peace will never leave you guessing. It will ground you in purpose,